Good morning, people. Happy Thursday. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are y'all doing today? I hope and pray everybody's having a blessed, beautiful day so far, even though it's really, really early. Okay? It is. It is. Thank y'all so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Of course, I did not turn my Bluetooth on. Give me a second. Okay, y'all, we are back. Back for part three of what happened to Miss Gloria Satterfield. Now, for those that are interested, we will be starting the trial coverage on Monday. I'm going to finish up on these episodes of what happened to Miss Gloria. If I have time this weekend, I'll we'll sit and listen to, or on one of these episodes before we get the trial coverage started. We'll listen to the jailhouse phone calls between Alec Murdaugh and his son Buster. You know, Buster. We'll get all that. I'm gonna try to get all that in between today and Monday, because on Monday we will be starting the trial coverage for those that are interested. Okay. So with that being said, let me pull up part three of what happened to Miss Gloria Satterfield. Now, for those that may be new and don't know, Miss Gloria Satterfield was the longtime housekeeper for over like 20 years for the Murdaugh family. Supposedly, allegedly, she fell one day on the steps outside of their home where she obtained a head injury and broken ribs. Ended up passing away 21 days later. Um, Initially, they ruled it I think, an accident. Actually, they put on the death certificate natural death, but it was supposed to be an accident. Um, but they later start after the trial of Alec Murdaugh began. They start looking into it as a homicide. What we know so far is that Mr. Alec Murdaugh went to the two sons of Miss Gloria, um, in which he devised a insurance scam in order to steal money from them. If you hadn't watched the last episode, please go back and watch the replay to get more information on what we have covered so far. I have no clue of what could be covered in these next episodes because I just don't know. Like, they already, unless they, have come up with new evidence or whatever. I don't know. But we're gonna listen. We're gonna listen just to get. I'm just doing this, y'all, to get a little bit more understanding of some of the things that might be brought up in the trial. Like I say, we will be beginning the trial coverage on Monday. For those that are listening, for those that may catch the replay, who are interested, give me one second. Okay, y'all. So let's get started. Let's get started. All right. I'm gonna drop the link in case anybody wants to come up. Anybody got any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them. Thank y'all so much again for joining me this morning. I appreciate it.
We just learned authorities took Alec Murdaugh into custody in Florida.
This morning, Alec Murdaugh is again under arrest.
Disgraced lawyer Alex Murdaugh was arrested in Florida today.
The high-profile attorney at the center of a case involving murder, money, and mystery is arrested in Orange County.
I don't know if anyone killed Gloria Satterfield, but I know that there is a paper trail of evidence showing how Alec Murdaugh was likely the mastermind behind a despicable plan to steal millions of dollars from her sons. And this week, Alec Murdaugh was arrested on 2 charges related to that scheme. My name is Mandy Matney. I have been investigating the Murdaugh family for more than 2.5 years now, and this is the Murdaugh Murders Podcast. On the morning of October 14th, agents with the South Carolina Law Enforcement
Thank you, Nicole. I'm better. I'm not 100%, but I'm better. I'm better, Nicole. I may not sound like it, but just got a lot of stuff on my mind. That's all. Thank you, though, sweetie. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. I pray that you're doing okay today, too.
Division, also known as SLED, arrested Alec Murdaugh and charged him in relation to the Gloria Satterfield case. And please go back and listen to part 1 and 2 of the Gloria Satterfield case before this one. It'll make a lot more sense. Murdaugh was charged with 2 felony counts of obtaining property by false pretenses. He faces up to 10 years in prison for each charge. According to a statement from SLED, the charges stem from a SLED investigation into millions of dollars of misappropriated settlement funds in the death of Gloria Satterfield. Here is David reading SLED Chief Mark Keel's statement from that day.
Today is merely one step in a long process for justice for the many victims in these investigations. I want to commend the hard work and dedication that our agents have shown over the last 4 months, said SLED Chief Mark Keel. They will continue to work tirelessly on behalf of those who were victimized by Alec Murdaugh and others. As I have said previously, we are committed to following the facts wherever they may lead us, and we will not stop until justice is served.
Agents arrested Alec Murdaugh after he was released from a Florida rehab facility for his alleged drug addiction. According to sources close to the situation, Murdaugh detoxed at a facility in Atlanta, Georgia, and then transferred to a facility in Orlando where he was scheduled to be released Thursday, October 14th, which is the day that he was arrested. On Thursday night, after a long day for the both of us, I called Eric Bland to get his reaction.
Relieved. Both professionally and personally relieved, because I think it's good for the legal system. I think that our entire legal system and how we're approaching this is, the eyes of the nation are watching. And so I applauded earlier
Thank you, Bruce.
SLED's decision and obviously the AG's decision to bring these charges. I talked with Chief Keel, and I think that I was able to articulate that a rifle shot now is better than a shotgun blast and trying to charge him with everything under the sun at once. This is a good opportunity to build a case on a case so that they obviously can bring more charges. It disappointed me that he was only charged with 2 counts of obtaining money by false pretenses because there were 3 checks that he received totaling over $3.5 million. So I think that they missed the boat in only charging him with 2 counts. But it's a start, and obviously they'll bring additional charges as the investigation unfolds. So I was relieved professionally as a lawyer that I think our system, again, was stretched, but it didn't break. Today was a good day for justice.
Eric Bland said he was also relieved for his 2 clients, Gloria Satterfield's 2 sons, Brian Harriet and Tony Satterfield.
And then personally, for my clients, I think that it was rewarding for them to be able to see that victims do count, and that a man that they had revered and had great respect for and viewed as family will have to start being accountable for his actions. I think that it was a good day for our state, definitely a good day for our state, because a lot of questions were being asked on how this guy can, remain free when for 2 weeks now we have essentially proved a crime. The only thing we haven't proved is where the money has gone, but that's not the crime he's charged with. He's charged with stealing the money, not whether he gave it to a charity or he used it to buy drugs or a property or whatever.
Eric Bland believes that more charges will be filed against Alec Murdaugh in the near future, and some of those charges could be federal. On Thursday, FITSNews founding editor Will Folks exclusively reported on efforts from Murdaugh's attorneys Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin to negotiate a backdoor plea deal with federal prosecutors in the hopes of keeping Alex Murdaugh out of state prison and landing him in the more comfortable prison known as Club Fed.
I absolutely believe that before this is over with, the federal government will bring charges, and it'll have to be a determination on who's actually goes forward. But I do believe he's going to get charged with a whole host of mail fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, money laundering, conspiracy to commit fraud, and failure to file income taxes.
So this is just the beginning, and that's just one of many cases and many investigations.
I can't speak to the other stuff.
Yeah.
Certainly Jim Griffin is speaking to it.
Which, by the way, if you missed it, earlier this week, Jim Griffin dropped another strange bomb in this story. And during an interview with Fox Carolina journalist Cody Alcorn, Jim Griffin admitted to him within the first minute that his client is a person of interest in the double homicide case. Granted, FITSNews has been reporting that Alec is a person of interest ever since the week of the double homicide. But before this week, no single person has gone on the record and admitted that Alec is a person of interest in the double homicide. It's very weird for him to say that. Last week, Eric Bland published a bombshell motion that appears to show evidence stacked up against Alec Murdaugh, his two friends, Corey Fleming and Chad Westendorf, and his law firm, Peters, Murdaugh, Parker, Ellsworth, and Diedrich, also known as PMP-ED, and Fleming's law firm, Moss, Kuhn, and Fleming, for their alleged roles in the disgraceful $4.3 million secret settlement for Gloria Satterfield, which was signed by Judge Carmen Mullen. So Bland also told me on Thursday night that he thinks that other co-conspirators could be charged in this as well.
I don't think he's going to be the only one. I don't believe that they're not looking at others, potentially people at the bank.
Yeah, the thing about it is, and I don't know if they're going to talk about others that are charged or were charged or whatever, but the fact of the matter is he didn't do it by himself. He shouldn't be, Alec Murdaugh, he did mastermind it or whatever, but he shouldn't be the only one charged. There was a lot of people, the judge, the so-called representative they had for them. I mean, all of them should be charged. I don't understand, but let's listen.
In his law firm and everywhere else, I think everything is on the table. And as I said to you, I think Alex is going to squeal like a stuck pig. That's his only currency that he has left. I just think that he knows too much.
In the last 2 weeks, Corey Fleming has been suspended from practicing law, and Alec Murdaugh has been charged with 2 felonies. But what about Chad Westendorf? Chad Westendorf
Exactly.
and the bank that he works for, Palmetto State Bank, are accused of doing a lot of wrong things here. Here's Eric Bland again.
And people are starting to be held accountable. Last week it was Corey Fleming losing his license temporarily. This week it's Alec who is being arrested, and hopefully we'll be able to persuade with the power of the people that Palmetto Bank needs to disassociate from Chad Westendorf, and the Independent Banking Association needs to do that as well.
Documents filed this week show how Westendorf and Palmetto State Bank allegedly played important roles in the scheme. As a personal representative of an estate, Westendorf was in charge of managing the money of the estate and distributing the checks from the settlement. Mm-hmm. He was also obligated to fulfill his duties as an officer of the court. Westendorf is still the vice president of Palmetto State Bank, and he's the president of the Independent Banks of South Carolina. Neither one of these institutions held him accountable for his alleged role in this scheme. And Bland also wants PMP-ED, the Murdaugh law firm, to own up to their alleged involvement in this case as well.
The law firm needs to treat the Satterfields, the Murdaugh firm, exactly how they treated their other clients who were victims of Alex's fraud. You know, they were quick to tell everybody in early September, we made everybody whole immediately. Well, I want to see if they treat Gloria Satterfield the same way. And then the banks. That's going to be the object of our affection going forward, the banks.
Bland told me that his clients are feeling tremendous betrayal from Alec Murdaugh, and they want answers about their mother's death. The Satterfield family was told that Gloria tripped on the steps of the Murdaugh's home on February 2nd, 2018. They were told that the Murdaugh's dog tripped her, which resulted in sustaining a traumatic brain injury. But despite some documents stating that the accident took place in Hampton, South Carolina, the incident allegedly took place at the Moselle property in Colleton County, the same property where Maggie and Paul were murdered on June 7, 2021. On September 15th, SLED opened up an investigation into both Satterfield's death and her death settlement. This is due to several inconsistencies in the case, including the fact that her death certificate said that she died of natural causes, which did not add up to any of the documents in the lawsuit, which said that she fell.
It's a tremendous betrayal they're feeling, and then they went to, well, geez, they want to believe that their mother died accidentally. They don't want to have to live with the thought, nor does the family, that their mother or sister was murdered.
Yeah.
So they believe the explanation that the dogs caused the fall. And then today it was a stark reality that this is a really bad person. Alec Murdaugh's a really, really, really bad person. That's the bottom line. And that's a tough pill to swallow when you've seen this man walk around town like he's the cock of the walk.
Yeah.
He's just a really bad person. There's no bottom to him.
So many dominoes have fallen in this case in the last month, but none of them would have fallen if it wasn't for Gloria's sons, Brian and Tony, and their bravery in stepping forward and going to a lawyer after they've been betrayed all of these years in early September and telling the lawyer that something went wrong with their mom's settlement and they needed help. And that lawyer referred them to Eric Bland.
It's gone from, how do we even question Alex? Okay, we'll go to a lawyer. We'll ask the hard questions. Hopefully we get answers. He'll give us our money. To, we didn't get answers. We had to sue. Then we find out the fraud, and we have to actually tell him your money's gone. It actually was stolen by the guy that you revered. And everybody that you thought was representing you and you trusted, from the law firm of Corey Fleming to the law firm of the Murdaugh firm and to the PR, everybody let you down, including the judge. Yep. Including the judge let them down.
And all of those steps that Brian, Tony, Eric, and Ronald have taken to expose the truth in this case led to Thursday, to Alec Murdaugh being in handcuffs. For the second time in 2 months, Alec Murdaugh is set to appear in court for another bond hearing, but this time could be different. This time will be in Richland County, where the South Carolina state capital is, and it will be in front of a real judge who actually has a law degree. Circuit Judge Clifton Newman will preside over Alec's bond hearing at 10 a.m. Tuesday. That would be October 19th at the Richland County Courthouse. The last time Alec faced a bond hearing, it was in his home court of Hampton County in front of a magistrate judge who allegedly had close ties to the Murdaugh family. The last time, Alec was given a very low bond and wasn't required to wear a GPS monitor. Bond is typically determined by factors such as flight risk, whether or not the person is a danger to the community, the severity of the charges, and community ties, among other factors. If Alec actually has to pay his bond this time, the last time it was a personal recognizance bond, which means he didn't have to pay anything. And it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially considering his attorney, Dick Harpootlian, has said that his client is broke. Either way, Alec Murdaugh, whose powerful family ran the prosecutor's office in the Low Country, for nearly a century is going to have to spend a weekend in jail for the first time in his life. And that is a big deal. Alec Murdaugh has two of the most expensive defense attorneys in the state. Whether or not they're the best is up for debate, but there are two of the most expensive and prominent defense.
Thank you, Nikki, for supporting the channel. Nikki says, thanks for your good morning. Thanks for your commentary. Good morning, Nikki, and thank you for supporting the commentary. I honestly appreciate it. Hey, Bayou. Hey, Sirius. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank y'all so much for joining. I appreciate it. I do. Y'all got any questions now? Hopefully y'all keeping up, but if you got any questions, let me know. Write them in the chat and I'll answer.
Attorneys in the state of South Carolina. So I asked Bland if he thinks Alec's defense attorneys can actually get him out of this.
No way. Now, there isn't a lawyer. Effley Bailey, Johnny Cochran, both from the grave, Dick Hartootley and Jack Swirling, Joe McCullough, Pete Strom, and Jim Griffin could have their best days, and they don't have a chance of getting this guy off. We have him tattooed, lock, stock, and smoking barrels on this. Unless the judge just says, well, you can steal $3.6 million and I'll give you a slap on the wrist. I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that our judges are going to let that happen. He's gotten too many lucky breaks. When the trial of how this happened comes out about secret settlements and people were taking his name off the caption and nothing filed with the court, and then he somehow is the defendant who pays the money and ends up with the money. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. I think the virtue in hiring Dick and Jim or anybody else is what kind of deal can they cut for him if he sings like a canary.
Before we end this episode, I want to tell y'all about a fabulous event coming up in Columbia, South Carolina this month.
Okay, I'm not going to listen to all that. That's the end of this episode, y'all. We're going to go to part 4, which I hope is also short as well. We're going to see. And we're going to cover episode... let me make sure.
And a despicable scheme.
This is part 4. What happened to Gloria? Part 4. Yeah. This is part 4, so we're going to listen to part 4, y'all. We're going to listen. Part 3 was... Ooh, what is that? Part 3 was very, very short. So we're going to listen to part 4, okay? Make sure y'all hit the like button. Please, please, and thank you. And feel free to support the channel. Hit the cash out.
I don't know if anyone killed Gloria Satterfield, but this week, prosecutors presented a paper trail of evidence showing how Alec Murdaugh allegedly stole millions of dollars in a despicable scheme in the aftermath of her death. And this week, prosecutors presented enough evidence about Alec Murdaugh to convince a South Carolina judge to keep Alec Murdaugh behind bars for the time being.
Wow.
And that is a big deal. My name is Mandy Matney, and I've been investigating the Murdaugh family for more than 2.5 years now. And this is the Murdaugh
Now,
murders.
when we left off the last episode, he was going to court. He had a court date set. Y'all got to remember this was in 2021, October 2021. 9 months. Well, this was dropped 9 months ago. But the last episode, he had a court date to go to court for the charges pertaining to stealing the money from Gloria Satterfield's son. So in this episode, apparently he has gone to court and they held him without bond, okay, in those charges.
Podcast. Last week, I told you all that this bond hearing would be different, and I'm happy to say that I was right. On Tuesday, South Carolina Judge Clifton Newman ruled against Alec Murdaugh and his so-called bulldog attorneys. To many in South Carolina, the ruling had much larger implications on the justice system as a whole. To many, it meant that the tides were changing against the good old boy system, and that this case is no longer under their thumbs. So today, in this special breaking news episode of the Murdaugh Murders podcast, we're going to go through the arguments at Tuesday's hearing and talk about what led Judge Newman to make this decision. Creighton Waters, prosecutor with the South Carolina Attorney General's office, was first to present. He told the court how Gloria Satterfield was the Murdaugh's housekeeper for more than 2 decades. He talked about how Gloria helped raise Alec's 2 children, Buster and Paul, and how she died suddenly at the age of 57 after an alleged trip and fall incident at Alec Murdaugh's Moselle home in Colleton County, South Carolina, in February 2018. Satterfield's entire family attended the hearing. I didn't see a single member of the Murdaugh family there to support Alec on Tuesday. During the bond hearing, Waters took the court through the Satterfield scheme that allegedly began soon after she died.
Your Honor, Mr. Murdaugh, as you may know, is a longtime lawyer in the state of South Carolina. Does a lot of tort work. And at the funeral of Ms. Satterfield, Mr. Murdaugh tells the family, hey, she fell at my house. It was because of the dogs. It was my fault. And I'm going to take you to a lawyer so that y'all can file a claim and get some compensation for the death of your mom. And he takes the boys to a friend of his, a very close friend of his, a person by the name of Corey Fleming. And Your Honor, as you're well aware, many times in these sorts of cases, there ends up being a structured settlement. And there is a company, a legitimate company here that operates in South Carolina called Forge Consulting. And what they do is they help facilitate these structured settlements in certain cases where that is approved by the court. But as Your Honor also knows, those have to be approved by the court. Mr. Murdaugh, it appears back in 2015, set up a bank account with the Bank of America in the name of Richard Alexander Murdaugh, DBA Forge.
Here, the court learned shocking information that Alec Murdaugh allegedly opened up the fake Forge account in 2015. This leads to so many other questions. How many other people did he scam with this fake Forge account? Why did he open it in 2015? Here is Waters again.
And it appears that this account was nothing more than an illusion, a fabrication, in order to create the illusion that these checks that he was getting in various settlements were going to a legitimate settlement consultant, when in reality they were going into an account that he controlled. And that's how this scheme took place in this particular case. And this led to a chain of events, Your Honor, that I've never seen before.
So if you've been following along and paying attention to the Murdaugh Murders podcast and Fitz News coverage of this case, you've heard most of this. But hearing it in court is a whole nother thing, and it's a good recap of how the scheme went down. Here is Waters again.
Mr. Fleming talks the boys into appointing as PR a person at Palmetto State Bank, where Mr. Murdaugh has a long relationship, a guy by the name of Chad Westendorf. He gets appointed on December 18th, 2019, and on the very next day, December 19th, 2019, he files a petition to approve a settlement, which is a $500,000 settlement on the homeowner's policy. The disbursement in this petition says $475 for the wrongful death, $25 for survival, and $5,000 for the med pay. And in that petition as well, there is $166,000 for attorney's fees and then $11,500 on the nose for costs. And ultimately then, not long after that, Mr. Fleming and his law firm issues a check at the direction of Mr. Murdaugh made out just simply to the name Forge. And Mr. Murdaugh takes that particular check. It is for $403,500. It makes no sense with the disbursements that were in the petition to approve the settlement. And he deposits that into this Forge account that he controls. And Your Honor, I was able to review the bank records about that. And what we see is that's deposited in January of 2019. And by March 2019, he has transferred all that money out of that Forge account he controls into his personal checking account where they are spent on personal use and family expenses.
Here, Waters is saying that in March 2019, which would be days or weeks after the 2019 boat crash that killed Mallory Beach, Murdaugh transferred a large amount of money from the Satterfield settlement into his own bank account for personal use. This boat crash forever changed the dynamics of the Murdaugh family and thrust them into a media spotlight that they just were not prepared for. In March 2019, the Murdaugh family was sued for that crash by Mallory Beach's mother, Renee Beach, who was being represented by Mark Tensley. And in April 2019, Paul Murdaugh, Alec Murdaugh's son, was...
Good morning, the truth.
Good morning, ma'am. Sorry I'm late. I just punched in. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You been listening, or do I need to catch you up? Because we're not too far into anything.
No. I understand where they're at, because they're at where he had the money put in a person, in the account, and then he transferred it out to a personal account. Yeah,
they just basically what's happening is he's been arrested on the charges pertaining to that money. And he's actually in court, and they are going through the events that led them there. So
yeah, and this is actually after he attempted to have that man shoot him.
Right, because he had already been arrested right before that on those charges.
Yes.
And actually, when he got arrested on those charges, they literally let him out of jail scot-free. He didn't have a bond or anything. So then when he got arrested for these charges, the judge actually held him.
Yes, and the Mallory Beach had already been presented.
Mm-hmm.
So he already knew that they were coming after the money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it.
No problem, boss.
Was charged with 3 felonies in that crash. Attorneys Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin were hired to represent Paul either in March or April 2019, which would be after he got this money, likely. Considering that the Murdaugh family got millions in the settlement, how can we know for sure that none of the money went to Jim Griffin or Dick Harpootlian? And if it did, wouldn't that be a conflict of interest?
But that's not the end of it, Your Honor. There's also an umbrella policy that's got a much higher limit. And ultimately, Mr. Fleming negotiates a $3.8 million settlement with the insurance company on that umbrella policy. And then what we see is there's an unfiled petition. The caption has changed. It doesn't have Mr. Murdaugh's name on it. It just says "In re Gloria Satterfield." The Murdaugh name is removed, and it is this petition to approve the settlement is on May 13th, 2019, and it's actually for $4,305,000. So this for 3.8 plus.
Well, actually, the actual policy only paid like $500,000, but it was that umbrella policy that paid the most money.
Yes, the original property insurance policy was only for $505,000.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he told them that they're each going to get $100,000.
After all the fees and things.
Yeah, after all the fees, you guys would probably walk away with over $100,000 each. And they were, the hillbillies, they were, the inbreeds, they were $100,000. I could buy me a new trailer.
That is so mean, Detroit. That is so mean.
Good morning, Trey. I already knew what he was coming with. I knew it was going to be either the hillbillies or the inbreeds. I just can't.
My sister wife.
But actually, though, $100,000 for them would have been great. I ain't gonna lie, the way they were living.
3 years of salary for them.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's all. And see, that's basically all they told them about. They had no idea about those millions of dollars.
Well, that's the thing, though. That they knew, and they were setting them up to not look into it.
Right.
Because they were already. Hey, you're gonna get $100,000. They were gonna make sure that. They're going to make sure that they got more than $100,000.
But see, the thing about it is somebody got greedy because they didn't even get that.
Well, because they knew they were slow and they wouldn't ask any questions. And remember, his world is collapsing around him.
Yeah.
The Mallory Beach suit has been laid out,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's got to hide this money. So,
and that's when they said, yeah, because they said something about he took that money that he swindled out of them, I think, from what I understand, to cover what went on with the Mallory Beach situation. You know what I mean?
yes, because he moved it to his personal account,
Mm-hmm.
which he shouldn't have done. I think he put it in there to show them, hey, I got this much money. I'm gonna give I'll give you that.
Yep.
Because if he was trying to hide it, he'd have just put it in one of his offshore accounts. Because if you listen to some of those jailhouse phone calls,
Yeah, we're supposed to listen to those this weekend. I can't wait.
yeah, he's encryptedly telling Buster where the money is and how
That's
to
what
get
somebody
it.
said.
So he doesn't tell him straight out. He's encryptedly telling him, do this, do that, look
Right.
here, talk to this guy. So somebody was holding the money for them.
This
Because
man
remember,
is.
he had been doing this to a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, he got a lot of money somewhere.
Oh yeah. If you go back and look at all the people that came forward after they rechecked most of his cases, they saw that what the payout was nowhere near what the client received.
So he stole millions from several people. That was just the tip of the iceberg right now with those guys, with those boys.
With the inbreeds, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all, here we go. Y'all, please hit the like button if you don't mind. Feel free to support the channel. Thank you.
The 505 that was from that previous petition. There's no mention of structure. There's no mention of a structured settlement. And in the disbursement that's set out there, there's supposed to be $2,765,000 that's supposed to go to the beneficiaries. And then there's also $105,000 in costs on the notes. Again, zero. $105,000, not 21 cents, not 37 cents, $105,000. So that disbursement also has in there for attorney's fees and all the rest of it. And again, 2.7 million is supposed to go to these boys back here. And instead, Mr. Fleming sends a check to Forge at Mr. Murdaugh's direction on May 13th, 2019 for $2,960,000.
Oh no, I'm here for it. Absolutely not. I'm here for it. Say, did he get any insurance money from the death of his wife and son?
Now he didn't, but they're holding it up because it was supposed to go to the estate.
Mm-hmm.
So because he was the beneficiary, they may not pay that out.
Right.
But Buster can fight that and say I had nothing to do with it, and that was my mother and my son, my brother. So why can't I get it?
You think he will though?
Well, it's going to be a fight, and the insurance company, if the insurance company can show that it was done for the insurance money, then they don't have to pay. But if it means if for any reason they feel that he just did it to do it, for any other reason other than the insurance money, they would have to pay out.
And see, I don't think it would help that he was charged with that whole thing when it came to trying to get insurance money on himself. He's already got a history of doing things for insurance money. So if I was Buster, I
don't understand how he got an insurance policy anyway. That insurance policy on his wife and his son had to have been in place for years.
Oh, absolutely. You know, them people with money, they got them, baby. They keep them.
Because the insurance company already dropped him after I don't know if it was the Mallory Beach one or if it was Gloria. But they already said we've already dropped them. This is the last. We're dealing with you. Because he had Lords of London, which is the largest insurance company in the world.
Wow.
Those are the ones that insure Hollywood, the Hollywood people. Lords of London have been around for 100 years, and they're the ones that would, insure people's legs and insure people's hands. You know, they insure people's faces, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's their moneymaker. And they would ensure that if anything was to happen to those particular parts of the body, that rumor has it that Tina Turner had her legs insured by Lloyd's of London.
Hey, what in the hell? Okay.
Yeah, that if anything should happen to her and she can't dance anymore, her legs are, you know, whatever,
Wow.
they would pay out, you know, millions of dollars.
Wow. All right. Hey, Ryan in the bushes. Okay, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it.
$1,911.95, and that represents the second charge. The first charge is the $403,000. The second charge is for the 2.9, almost $3 million. And again, Your Honor, when you look at the petition, the disbursements make no sense whatsoever. They don't bear any relationship to what was said in those petitions. But the reality is that $2.9 million went into that forge account that Mr. Murdaugh controlled. And within a few months, he had transferred all that money for personal use.
So before the court hearing, we never heard what Alec did with the money. And that was revealed in court yesterday. Here's Waters again.
He had been carrying a $100,000 credit card balance for months. That gets paid off. He writes.
Okay, listen, y'all. They finna tell what they think the money went to. Oh, gosh. Damn it. Did I do it too far? Hold on. I got to hear these. $100,000 in credit card. Oh, Lord.
Did with the money. And that was revealed in court yesterday. Here's Waters again.
He had been carrying a $100,000 credit card balance for months. That gets paid off. He writes 300 and some odd grand to his father. He writes a check for 610 grand to himself. He writes a check for 125 grand to himself. Not a dime goes to this family back here. And interestingly, I noticed last night that one of the checks in there was an $84 check that he wrote to Scott Harriet, who was one of the family members back here. So he had over $3 million of money that should have gone to this family, or almost $3 million of money that should have gone to this family.
Not a dime went to Gloria's sons, Brian Harriet and Tony Satterfield. And they wouldn't have known that there were any dimes distributed in this case had it not been for my article that they read in 2020, which was about the only part of the settlement that was on public record. And I only wrote that article because the Murdaughs were involved in the 2019 boat crash. So many events had to occur in order for Alec's arrest to happen in this case. Here is Waters again.
Your Honor, there is one final check that was in October of 2020, over a year after all this other stuff occurred, and that was for $118,000 that Mr. Fleming also sent to forge, that Mr. Murdaugh absconded with that as well. That is not one of the current charges, but that is because this is an ongoing investigation, Your Honor. This is the tip of the iceberg. This is an ongoing investigation, and I think there's going to be far more that we will reveal as we review these records.
Earlier this week, Satterfield family attorney Eric Bland told Fitz News that he believes that Alec should have been charged with a third check at the very least. That third check was for $118,000 that he allegedly stole in the settlement. The Attorney General's office here is basically saying that they expect more charges will come and that this is just the beginning. At the end of the prosecution statement, Waters asked the judge for a surety bond and a GPS monitor. He said Murdaugh is a flight risk and should be considered a danger to himself and the community.
Your Honor, very quickly, the state would be asking for a surety bond here today in the neighborhood of $200,000. We would ask for GPS. And the reason for that is that we do believe that Mr. Murdaugh is a danger. He's already, by the previous charges that he had, he's been a danger to himself. And a man who's a danger to himself is a danger to others. The underlying facts of those, and there's already been a bond set on that, and I recognize that, but the underlying facts of those charges were in fact violent. Someone who's suicidal is also a danger to other people. Additionally, he's been apparently under treatment for a very severe opiate addiction. And Your Honor, doing a lot of drug cases, I know how powerful that is and how unmoored that can make someone. And then obviously we're all aware of the unspeakable tragedy that this family has suffered. His professional life is coming apart at the seams. He's facing very serious charges with additional ones to come. And that really can make someone very unmoored and very dangerous. And for that, I think that he is.
Good point.
I think we also have to consider the fact of a flight risk. This is a man who, just here today, on the two charges we're here today, we're talking about over $3 million that was misappropriated. That's a lot of money. And I think inherently that makes somebody with that kind of means, the kind of money that this man was dealing with, makes them capable of being a flight risk. Your Honor, if you steal $3.4 million, I believe you deserve a surety. I believe you deserve GPS. I believe that would be treating him by the book.
After Waters, Murdaugh's defense attorney, Dick Harpootlian, addressed the court. Dick Harpootlian did not look on top of his game yesterday. Harpootlian's argument was basically saying that Murdaugh is a recovering addict and should no longer be considered a danger. Arguing that Murdaugh is not a flight risk, Harpootlian claimed that Alec was willing to voluntarily turn himself in on any additional charges before he was arrested on Thursday, but law enforcement didn't take him up on that. I thought this was interesting, as the two systems of justice theme keeps reoccurring in this, that Harpootlian would expect Alec to be able to turn himself in again and not get arrested like a normal person.
We're not here today to make the allegations by the state. He's presumed innocent at this point, and while the allegations are just that, allegations, they're really not relevant to the bond Your Honor says. The second thing I point out is this: when he was made aware of the charges in Hampton County, for which he's out on bond now, he brought himself from a treatment facility in Georgia, surrendered himself, a PR bond was set, he was released, he went to another treatment facility. We offered to SWED to let us know if he needed him. We anticipated further charges. They did not take us up on our offer to have him come up under his own steam and surrender himself. They went to Orlando, Florida, took him into custody without giving us a heads up. That was not what was represented to me. They had some reason for doing it. He is not a flight risk. He surrendered himself. He was willing to surrender himself on this. He's really got nowhere to go. He's from South Carolina, lived here his entire life.
The defense really pushed the narrative that Alec was a drug addict who needed to go back to rehab.
The second thing I think is important to recognize is this: he has had at least a decade, if not longer, a severe addiction to Oxycontin and other opioids. Much of the conduct they're talking about here today, occurred because of that, some of it to fuel that, and certainly his judgment was impaired in a dramatic way. He is off of those. He has just completed almost 6 weeks of detox and treatment at an addiction center, 2 different centers.
So first of all, is it a 10-year addiction or a 20-year addiction? Why is Dick Harpootlian saying that his client has been addicted?
So the whole drug thing, that behooves me, right? The truth, the opioid addiction thing.
Why?
Because I feel like if he was that addicted, if he was that addicted to opioids, he wouldn't have been able to do some of the criminal things that he was doing.
Well,
he wasn't going out doing petty robbery and all that stuff. He was doing like major schemes.
Yeah, intricate schemes. But again,
yes,
his lawyer is trying to say, look at the irrational things that this man has done. He's a prominent lawyer, and he stooped to stealing money from clients and stealing money from these 2 boys. So it's all about the irrational behavior. So that's what his lawyer is trying to push. That he was an upstanding citizen until he became addicted to oxycodone. So again, he painted the picture of he was a prominent lawyer, and then he became addicted, and he knew that he had a serious problem, so he turned himself in prior to any of these charges. That is the big thing that he's trying to say. My client sought help even before he is charged with these crimes.
Right.
So again, he's trying to paint the picture of my client knew that he was wrong. My client knew that he needed help, so he voluntarily admitted himself. So, but I'll guarantee that Fleming let him know that they're on to them. because Fleming would be the first person that knows they were on to them, because the inbreed's lawyers would have said, "Where's the money?" To Fleming, like, "Where's the money? Where'd the money go?" The first question would have been, "How much money was paid out to this policy?" And they would have already had known how much money was before they even talked to Fleming.
Right.
So Fleming tipped him off that they were looking into it, that they know that there was more money than we're saying. But, Fleming is like, well, I just did what I was told. Now, the whole thing about a structured settlement means they put it into an account, and then it's a structure every year or every month or whatever they decide to do. The structured settlement is the payout that you'll get. And that usually is done because it's a large sum of money that would pretty much cripple the company if they had to pay it. So that when a structured settlement comes
they had to pay it straight out, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So they usually would petition the court to do a structured settlement over X amount of years in order not to damage the company and put other clients at risk. And the courts will go, okay, I understand that. Okay, no problem. And they allow them, what they do is they have to take the money and put it in an account. And then that account will accrue interest, and that account will still go towards the money of the company, but it's being paid out of that account.
But the thing about it is, though, they actually paid their money out, though, right? They didn't do the structure thing.
The insurance company's not who came up with the structure. The insurance company paid in full.
Right. It's crazy.
And, that's what I'm saying. They decided, because it wouldn't be unheard of to have a structured settlement of that size.
Oh, it's pretty much covering their asses.
They just covered it because no one blink an eye going, it's a structured settlement. Okay. And like he said, remember the other lawyer said, well, we never saw the structured settlement agreement.
No paperwork. Did a whole structure?
We'd like to see it. Where is it? We want to see, where's this? No one sent the structured settlement to my client. So where is it? So that's what raised the first flag, is you were never told what the structure was. Because you have to agree with it. And if your lawyer decides that, I don't care if this bankrupt your company, I want the money. And usually they have to argue, hey, well, you're going to pay my client $300,000 the first year, and then we'll structure
the raise. Yeah. All right, y'all. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay. All right. Here we go, y'all.
To opioids for over 20 years, and now he's saying it's at least 10 years. Second of all, Harpootlian said that Alec was addicted while this conduct was occurring. So is he saying that his client did it?
But we would ask you to consider, and Mr. Griffin's going to go into this in greater detail, a personal recognizance bond. I mean, for him to have a surety bond means he's going to have to weigh some of those assets that Mr. Waters is talking about on paying the bondsman. So, Your Honor, having pointed out his willingness to confront these charges, he hasn't run once, not going to run, and the fact that maybe he, at some point was a danger to himself in an opioid-addled mental condition, asked somebody to shoot him in the head, but that's not where he is today. He's been through 6 weeks of addiction treatment. He needs more, and Your Honor, we'd ask you to consider a PR bond. Let me let Mr. Griffin go into greater detail on that.
Harpootlian concluded his statement basically asking for special treatment for his client. He said that Alec needed to complete more rehab in order to get better. And keep in mind, he was arrested after completing over a month of rehab at 2 different facilities. He also asked for a PR bond, which is what he got at the last bond hearing in his home court of Hampton County. A PR bond means that he doesn't have to pay any money to the court in order to be released. He asked for this by saying that Murdaugh, a person who's accused of stealing over $3 million from the Satterfield family and over $10 million from his own law firm, doesn't have any money and would have to sell his own assets in order to pay for the bond. How did he go through all that money so fast? And if he doesn't have any money, how is he affording two of the most expensive defense attorneys in the state? Defense attorney Jim Griffin followed Dick Harpootlian and asked for a PR bond.
The statute says you begin with a presumption of a PR bond. And, Your Honor, we think that is what he's entitled to. We had put in our memo a suggestion that he be subject to random drug testing. You know, he's willing to do that.
Now, the thing about it is, in order for him to go into that treatment center, he had to have had drugs in his system. Now, whether he was addicted like they say he was, I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe that is what most of the money went. I don't know. But I do know, unless, you know, he did what he normally does and pay somebody off. I don't know. The whole drug thing just got me really confused.
Well, he just has to have a drug.
Opioids is a hell of a drug, though. Opioids is a hell of a drug, and it's expensive.
I get it though. I get it, and I get it. But the thing about it is, like, I do know that people that's on them drugs like that, especially opioids, it's just for him to be able to carry out all the things that he did while he was addicted is what's got me. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, their brain power don't diminish. They're functioning addicts. They go to work and makes them feel like Superman.
That's probably why he stole so much money. Then I don't know. Shit is weird.
Right now, he's up to what, 14 million?
Yes, it's a lot of money.
He will do that regardless of this court order. But, Your Honor, we think with random drug testing, that would be sufficient condition of release to ensure his appearance and that he's not a danger to the community. The Alec Murdaugh, who's not hooked on drugs, has lived a good, fruitful life and law-abiding life. Only when he got hooked on opioids did things turn south and he truly regrets his conduct. Thank you.
After Griffin closed, attorney Eric Bland addressed the court on behalf of the Satterfield family.
Judge Newman, my partner Ronnie Richter and I represent the victims. These are Satterfield and Harriet family. This is Brian Harriet. He's the direct victim of Alec Murdaugh. This is a sad day, Your Honor. It's a day for lawyers. We look upon another lawyer who stole money from clients. Alec Murdaugh stained our profession. He also put a black eye on this state. I disagree with Jim Griffin and Mr. Harpootlian. If he's an opioid addict for 20 years, how is it that he tried cases? How is it that he appeared before judges?
Thank you. See, he said what I said, y'all. Listen. How did he try cases? How did he do all of this stuff? Well, okay, let's listen.
This is a sad day, Your Honor. It's a day for lawyers. We look upon another lawyer who stole money from clients. Alec Murdaugh stained our profession. He also put a black eye on this state. I disagree with Jim Griffin and Mr. Harpootlian. If he's an opioid addict for 20 years, how is it that he tried cases? How is it that he appeared before judges like you? How is it that he worked with his partners and represented clients? I do not believe that is the case. He is a clear and present danger to the citizens of this state and to my family. This is a man that used a gun on Labor Day weekend. This is a man that used a pen to steal $3.3 million with another $118,000 that's potentially going to be charged. It's no different than somebody walking into a bank and using a gun. We need to make sure that when somebody steals with a pen, it's the same as if they're stealing with a gun.
Mm-hmm. Then Judge Newman asked Eric Bland to clarify what kind of bond he's asking for.
Now, I want him not to have a bond. I would love it if this man was locked up and he couldn't harm anybody else. But there is a presumption that somebody is going to get bond. And if you're going to put bond, put those serious conditions on him that will restrain. Our position is he does not deserve bond. He forfeited that right. He stole. He's a liar and a cheat. Thank you, Your Honor.
Wow.
Okay, so the bond that he wants, right? The assumption bond serves as a guarantee that the person assuming the obligation will fulfill its required by the court. If the person fails to meet the obligation, the court can hold them liable and enforce the bond to collect any damages or losses that result. An assumption bond are typically used in a situation where the original debtor is unable to make the required payments or fulfill the obligation, but it is in everyone's best interest to find a way to ensure that the obligation is met. By agreeing to take on the obligation, the third party assumes the risk and potentially liable association with it, but also has the opportunity to help resolve the matter and prevent further legal action. So what it means is he wants him to go to a bond company and have to put up the money that's owed to those guys. So if it's 4.3 million or 2.8 million, he wants him to go to a bond company and to get a bond for $2.8 million. So he would have to find somebody, and that money will sit in escrow. And if he doesn't pay them, they'll be paid out of that bond, or they want him to put the 2.8 million up himself so that the court is holding that money. So if the court has 2.8 million and it's found that he's guilty and that he owes that money to him, but he doesn't pay them, they just give him the 2.8 that he put up for a bond.
Sounds reasonable to me because, first of all, he got it. We know he got it, but you know, hey, it is what it is. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. Let's see.
Next, Bland's law partner, Ronald Richter, asked the judge to place financial restrictions on Alec Murdaugh as a bond condition. Alec Murdaugh is currently facing at least 4 different lawsuits, and a number of plaintiff attorneys are concerned about his assets.
We have concern that he has been engaged in a pattern now of dispossessing himself of assets for the purpose of avoiding attempts by us and others to collect against him.
So basically, they're saying he hiding money. He is.
We know that in recent times he has transferred an interest that he owned in Green Swamp Club, a gun club, hunting club down in Beaufort. We're not sure exactly what money he got for this, but the transaction occurred on October 1st, 2021. And I'll have a copy of that for the court's consideration. He is listed for sale a Grady White boat that he owns for $115,000. And more concerning and more troubling from us is he has granted to his son a broad power of attorney, surrendering all financial control to his son. So, Your Honor, if you do consider a bond, we would ask that that bond restrict the ability of his son to assist in the dispossession of assets that would otherwise be available for crime.
Explain that, be true. They trying to put restrictions on that money, ain't they?
They're freezing his assets.
Freezing his assets.
They found out that the son now has power of attorney over his father's estate. They're trying to freeze the assets where they are as of this day, meaning that he can't transfer anything else to his sons like he did that first business, that Greenleaf. He transferred that already. That would have been liquidated to pay the debt. I guess they're trying to freeze the son from being able to sell the property because they're estimating the property be worth $4 million. So they're trying to freeze him to be able to either take over the property in his own name and everyone else is off it, or an attempt to sell it and the money goes to him. They want the estate to stay the estate in Alex's name.
I don't blame him. Yeah, see, he think he got all the sense. He really think he got all the sense.
Yeah, and they're freezing the sale of the boat, but they went and they looked to see what is up for sale already. So he's already attempted to sell things.
Right.
The $115,000 boat. They just said, you just put that up for sale. You've already gotten rid of one company. And you got this. So they're just trying, they want to freeze the assets so he can't dispose of any more money. And now they're probably going to ask for all his bank accounts to be frozen and to have would normally if they freeze
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Detroit.
If they freeze your account, they'll put somebody over the account that is allowed to pay your bills and allowed to give you money for living. So if your accounts are frozen, it doesn't mean you can't survive. Just somebody's going to watch that account and make sure money is not coming out of it that isn't supposed to come out. So that's what's probably next, is the freezing of his bank accounts.
Which I think is smart. Because like I said, he think he got all the sense. He was moving that money, boy.
Well, that's why the lawyers stepped up and said, Your Honor, I want to block out anyone from being able to take over the estate.
All right, guys, it's like 10 minutes left, so it's not much left. Let's listen.
Been committed on our family.
Richter asked the judge to set a serious bond for Alec Murdaugh, as he has demonstrated to have supporters with deep pockets.
Now, finally, Your Honor, it's important to note that we're not the only victim. We're the only victims here today. Mr. Murdaugh's law firm has sued him for allegedly stealing $10 million, more or less. Now, amazingly, it's only at the time that the Satterfields came forward with their complaints that the Murdaugh law firm discovered for the first time that there's $10 million missing. Right? And what they explain on their website, and this is a notice that they published to the public on their website, is that all clients have been restored. No one has suffered a loss because of this. That is not true as to the Satterfields. Right? So if ability to pay is a concern for the court, apparently Mr. Murdaugh has enough wealthy and powerful friends and family members that somebody stepped in on his behalf to cure a $10 million wrong for him. Because that's what this represents to the world on the website. I can tell you it's not true as well.
Do you think at this point, the truth, when he's already, faced these charges, because right now, I don't think at this point he's charged with the murders yet, right? The murders of his wife and son.
Well, he did mention the things that have happened to his family.
Right. But I don't think he's charged yet in this moment.
No.
So, this is the thing. At this point, do you think Paul Murdaugh, do you think that he's pretty much giving up on Alec, or he's still helping him?
Well, here's the thing, that the people that were involved in all his schemes have to protect the money. So they don't want people to start looking too deep. So his law firm is like, look, nobody's going to be left out. We're going to pay everyone. And so no one digs any deeper. So if you've been affected by this, and you're part of our law firm and he stole from you, we're gonna give you back your money that he stole. Right. So that you don't look any deeper into us.
Oh, because I got a feeling that if they looked deeper into that law firm, it would be a lot.
Yeah, they're gonna find more, because he had a controlling interest in that law firm, and they were talking about Papa and the rest of them, but they don't look here. We'll give you whatever you want here.
That's why they paid off the I feel like that's why the other law firm paid off what's his name? Damn it. The lawyer, the initial lawyer that Murdaugh was working.
Yeah, Fleming.
I believe that's why his law firm paid them people off.
Well, yes, because if you start digging deeper, you're going to find that we knew.
And Papa and them over there at the Murdaugh law firm, honey, ain't no telling what. Come on, Monica Modress, ain't no telling what they got going on over there.
And so we will pay any compensation, please, because they don't want them to dig any deeper, because if they can prove that they knew of the schemes and they were part of the schemes, then it becomes their part of the legal system now. They're going to be accused of knowing and abetting.
Yep.
And they can all
go ahead. Go ahead.
But they can all be disbarred.
No one is going to look because the whole county is corrupt. And the thing about it is, if these people was to really start digging, and I think honestly they would have to bring in like, and I know Sled is supposedly involved at this point or whatever, but to really, like, find out what really has been going on.
Yes, and they've
It would have to
already
be like
pointed.
an FBI investigation.
Yeah, well, it'd have to be the Justice
The
Department.
Justice Department, right?
The United
Yeah.
States Justice Department would get
Child.
involved because it has to do with judges, lawyers, and all
All
kinds.
that,
And
all
like she
that.
said, it's a RICO. Once you start looking into things, you start seeing it's branching off and who's getting paid and who's
Right.
not getting paid. They've already pointed fingers at how many people that Murdaughs have paid, and certain situations have happened to them. So basically, it's like, okay, please don't dig any deeper.
Oh, absolutely. Thank
It's
you for
like,
being in the chat today, Monica. I appreciate it, sweet. I appreciate it.
and now they're like, who's retiring? Who retired all of a sudden?
Child, it done been people retired.
Yep.
Some people done switched jobs. Some people
left the state and went somewhere else. And
they bribed the parole board.
Yeah.
I would too. Shit, I'm not finna sit around and waiting around for you to get me. I'm out of here.
Yeah, but see, a lot of times what happens is when they start doing this and they claim to start digging, people start coming forward because they know.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I don't get. It doesn't seem like it's happening yet, but maybe more as we dig and dig. I mean, as we listen. But to be honest, like, I'm still behooved as far as the Miss Gloria case, and well, I don't expect too many people to know too much about the Miss Gloria case, but with the Stephen Smith case, like, why people are still not talking?
I know the answer because they bribed the parole board. I'm going back on mute.
Oh God, goodbye, Trey.
well, here's the thing. Just look. This is a perfect example. The man that was in charge of finances for Trump. He took a plea deal and pleaded guilty. And in his plea deal, he said, "I will not implement the Trumps. I will admit to my crimes, but I will not testify against the Trumps."
Wow.
He fell on the sacrificial sword and said,
wow.
Take me. I'm the one. I did it. I'm going to confess.
Wow.
So this is the same thing that's going on now. It's like
good example, though. Good example.
Alex has to fall and say it was all me. It was all me.
Hell, he might as well at this point, because once he killed his wife and son, I mean, honestly, what else can you do? Like, that was pretty much it. Hey, Monica B. Hey, True, everybody came to. I'm about to get on the boat. My friend said, tell y'all he's taking my phone. Oh, okay, me, my girl. We gonna miss you, boo. Tell your friend he ain't gotta act like that. He can let you check in.
You better get Miss Monica. You better get your penis. Forget your toe. You better get your penis, girl.
Have fun, Miss Monica, but tell him let you holler at us and say you okay. Damn.
Put it through the speaker. You don't have to speak.
Something.
Still
we
listen.
ain't all.
We know how you are, though. You're gonna have to speak.
She gonna sneak. She gonna listen. She gonna dip in. I promise you that. She gonna let us know she all right.
Put the earbud. Put the earbud in your left ear so he can't see it.
Have fun, Miss Monica. Have fun. Prayers for a safe trip, okay? Child. People be hating on us. He gonna take a phone for? Honestly. All right, yeah.
He trying to keep her. He trying to get her unadulterated attention.
Well, Miss Monica ain't gonna. She gonna let us know she good. Thank you to the 49 people that supporting this live. I honestly appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Make sure y'all hit the like button, please. And also feel free to hit the cash app and support the channel. Okay, we got like maybe 8-9 more minutes on this right here. So let's see what they come up with, y'all. Also, thank you, D True, for joining. Trey, I guess I thank you too, Trey. Whatever.
Trey was late too. I'm squealing. Trey was late too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
I'm always late now. I done got Hollywood.
You got what?
I done got Hollywood. I'm always late now.
Yeah, he done got Hollywood. True. He really had.
Financial amount, you should rest assured that he has the financial wherewithal through influential friends and family members to respond to virtually any bond that you could issue. So, Your Honor, we ask that you issue, if you're going to issue a bond,
I know that's right, girl.
serious amount.
Honey, your being me, Mom. We love you.
And in closing, Your Honor,
Serious enough. 10 million, 20, 30, 50, 100.
$4.3 million feels appropriate to us. It seems to bear some relationship to the crime that was committed to our clients.
Wow. Wow. I know that's right.
After Richter's statement, Judge Newman asked to hear directly from law enforcement. Special Agent Turner with the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, also known as SLED, addressed the court.
To put it clearly, sir, and right now what I can speak on, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, we are investigating multiple different allegations or investigations at this point in time, to include the Stephen Smith death, which you're aware of, the actual cause of Ms. Satterfield's death. We're looking into that, the financial case that you're here with today, and numerous other financial investigations dealing with fraud or possible other criminal actions. As of right now, these are the charges that we are comfortable with and that we feel appropriate bringing forth. That's not to say that there won't be additional charges brought forth in the near future or possibly brought forth in the future. But these right now are the charges that we, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, felt were appropriate to bring before you today. Thank you, sir.
Special Agent Turner also mentions that Satterfield's cause of death is under investigation. Now, if you remember, on Satterfield's death certificate, the manner of death said natural, which the coroner said was not consistent with what was stated in the settlement about how the 57-year-old died. Satterfield's death was not reported to the coroner at the time, nor did officials perform an autopsy, which ultimately caught the attention of the new Hampton County coroner, who asked SLED to investigate Satterfield's death. And that was at the time when they believed that Satterfield fell in Hampton County. But now we know that she fell at Moselle. It's interesting that here he mentioned Stephen Smith, Gloria Satterfield, and the financial crimes, but not the double homicide. Remember, last week, Alec's own attorney admitted to a Fox Carolina reporter that his client was still a person of interest in the double homicide investigation. So I don't know why SLED would not mention that. But anyways, after this,
so
our
the
crew
double
van popped up
homicide
again,
already-
and this time it was
already
to place
occurred.
blame.
There you go. Go ahead.
So the double homicides had already occurred while this was going on. He was just a person of interest.
Right. That's why. Well, I didn't say he was a person of interest, but I did say he had not been charged yet.
Yeah, he had not been charged, but he was a person of interest while this was going on. So,
and see, the interesting thing is like once they started, and see, the truth, I gotta say it again. I think I've said it in previous lives. I'm just disgusted at the fact, and I just gotta say it, that it took him killing his wife and son, right, and that investigating starting, and him being charged in court, and all that happening, for them to even backtrack and go back and investigate Stephen Smith and Gloria Satterfield. Because I feel like their deaths were an afterthought. You get what I'm saying?
Well, there has to be someone came forward that was.
I hope that's what it is,
Yeah,
and I hope that's what it is for two reasons. It doesn't make it seem like they just gave up on their cases, and just because Paul and Maggie were murdered, then okay, now we'll look into this. And the other reason is because I'm just hoping they find out what happened to these two people.
Well, the thing is they never thought he was capable of murder until now. So they're like, hold on now.
Well, you know, the old saying is, if you lie, you'll steal. If you steal, you'll kill.
Well, the thing about it is that I think they uncovered all the cover-ups that were going on for this. And they also, started realizing the length that he has and how many people he had on his payroll.
Mm-hmm.
And I think names started coming up that were familiar with Stephen Smith's case.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when
Yeah.
names start coming up, the same names start coming up with this investigation. And like, wait a minute. Yeah, we know that name. Oh, we've seen that name before.
Mm-hmm.
It was in this investigate. Okay, so now they got to go back and look. What is this person involved here? He was also involved here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we need to look back at this too. So
Right.
it could be a number of people crisscrossed.
Okay.
Yeah. So when people start crisscrossing, and all of a sudden you start looking back at where did we see that name before?
Okay. Now, Monica Moore Justice is saying that she thinks someone else murdered Stephen other than a Murdaugh. I don't know. I kind of, I didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't, but I kind of think that I think the same thing. Hi, a view say, is this the truth? It is.
That's my view.
I know a view. Me and a view is a view has we got a little history, not much, but a little. I know exactly who she is. Hey, sweetie, thanks for joining.
That's my view. But okay, so say you start questioning people, and that's how a lot of serial killers get caught.
Okay. Now you don't have to come in slow. You can kick the door in, girl. You're welcome.
So that's how a lot of serial killers get caught. The same name keeps appearing.
Right.
Or
right.
the same car description appears in multiple investigations.
Right.
That's why in the 80s and 70s and the 60s, serial killers could run amok because it was never connected.
No connections, right?
Yeah, there was no connections because police departments didn't speak to each other the way they do now.
Technology helps with that as well.
Yeah. So when a name keeps popping up, and it popped up over here, then they start looking at that person like, were they involved in this too? So remember, the Murdaughs are connected to all of this.
Now, I will say, even though I'm kind of like feeling the way Monica does, because I don't know, but I will say that we got to remember though that when people were questioned about Stephen's murder, that name Murdaugh, even though they never said Paul, they never said Buster, they just kept saying the Murdaugh name kept coming up. And then it was supposedly only rumors that Stephen was involved with Buster. I've never heard like any like airtight, evidence that he was. That's why I said the truth with them going in his phone.
What did they see?
I wonder what they found.
Well, remember, he told his twin sister that he was involved with a prominent person.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
In the town that does not want it known that he is gay.
And the thing about it is, it could have been Paul.
Yeah.
It could have been Buster. Hell, it could have been Alec.
Yeah, it could have been the daddy that went in the
car. It could have been Papa.
Yeah, it could have been any one of them, but because that name keeps coming up, and it keeps coming up across different investigations, now everything is open. You see what I'm saying? When a corrupt cop is caught, all of his investigations come under scrutiny.
Right.
If you planted evidence here, and we found out here, how many other times did you plant evidence?
Exactly.
If you lied in a police report here, how many times have you lied in police reports prior to this.
That's why the truth of the matter is, with everything that's going on with this Murdaugh case, and this Murdaugh case, and I ain't just talking about him killing Megan Paul and being sentenced and convicted and all that. I'm talking about all this shit. Like, it should be some investigations going on, but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna do it. First of all, it's gonna take too much money. It's gonna take too much manpower, and a lot of people gonna go down.
Well, that's the thing, though. Is Alex gonna fall on the sword and take the blame?
He might as well, because his ass is grass, as my grandma used to say. He might as well, but I don't know if he's gonna do it or not.
Well, he's got appeals in right now.
Yeah, he does. He got appeals in. So he's fighting it. So I don't see him confessing. I don't see him falling on the sword yet, the truth.
No, he ain't gonna confess. If you want to pretend that you're innocent, you can't confess. I don't care what great deal.
Right.
As soon as you confess, it's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I believe the murder investigation uncovered a bunch of people
that
were involved with the Murdaughs, that were involved in the other cases.
Yeah.
And that it's true. Too many people have too many rumors, but that's how you muddy the water too. If a rumor comes up about you, you need to whisper in Jenny on the block's ear and let her start talking other rumors, and that muddies the water. Well, what rumor is true? Well, we got too many now. We had no suspects. Now we got too many suspects. So,
and then too, that reward, that's not gonna make it any easier.
No, because now all the inbreeds got something to say.
Oh, not all the inbreeds. Oh Lord. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's listen. We got like 6 minutes left on this. This is crazy.
And elsewhere in the case.
Your Honor, I hesitate to address Mr. Bland and Mr. Richter's allegations, but I think it's important for the court to understand. Mr. Murdaugh was not a lawyer in the Satterfield matter. He was the defendant. He had no authority over any money whatsoever. He was the defendant. The lawyer was a friend of his, but that lawyer is the one that issued those checks. That lawyer is the one that made sure the money went to this forge. He's the one that had responsibility, and then there's a personal representative who was a banker. They were responsible for making sure that Mr. Murdaugh could not, if he in fact did, furlough that money. So,
yes, he's trying to wait a minute, not trying to blame the bank.
Oh no, he's blaming the.
He's
blaming Fleming.
He's blaming his attorney friend.
Yes, he's blaming Fleming.
Oh well, that's what lawyers do. That's what they do. They put the.
Why do you think the law firm that Fleming represents is saying we'll pay whatever? Hold up now, and that's why he's asking the court for $4.3 million bond.
Yeah.
A $4.3 million cash bond. Because now they're saying, well, hold up, why 4.3? That my client didn't do that. That was their lawyer did that. But they're saying, okay, their lawyer did do it, but the money ended up in his account.
Wow. Okay.
Position as a lawyer, he was the defendant. He was the one that got sued.
Harpootlian tried to argue that Murdaugh did not use his authority as an attorney in the settlement scam, but a paper trail showing emails and letters from the Murdaugh's law firm appears to prove otherwise. This was a shocking error for Murdaugh's own defense attorney, who is supposed to be one of the best lawyers in the state, to make. Those emails and letters were in public record and published by Fitz News. How did he miss that? Here is Eric Bland explaining this.
Mr. Murdaugh prepared personal representative documents for Tony Satterfield to become the personal representative of his mother's estate. His paralegals and secretaries conversed with Corey Fleming's secretaries and paralegals about how money was supposed to be exchanged. He very much acted as the lawyer in this case. It's the strangest thing where the defendant dictates to the plaintiff lawyer how to run the case and then how to allocate money in contravention of court order. And we had
introduced into the courts of this state, the documents that show that Mr. Murdaugh actually did represent the family at the same time he was a defendant in a potential lawsuit. Thank you.
After Bland addressed the court, Judge Newman spoke and said that he needed a recess to consider the evidence in the case before deciding on bond.
Judge Newman look like he just stressed all the fuck the way out. He's already bald. And poor Judge Newman, child, okay.
Well,
It's almost done.
He's probably going, damn, did they give me
If
any
you look
money?
at this, if you look at this still shot, I'm looking at his teeth is gritted. He got this distressed look on his face, and he's already bald. And like I promise you, his hairline starts not in the middle, but all the way in the back, like mid-section in the back. He's just, child, he like, I don't know what to do right here.
Well, because he has to decide that Murdaugh is innocent until proven guilty. So all the assumptions, he has to put the assumptions aside, and he has to look at the evidence. So he wants to make sure that the choice that he makes is not going to come back to bite him. And them saying, well, the judge already presumed he was guilty. That, you know, that's a mistrial right there. The judge sided with them. So he already said he's guilty. So he has to weigh the evidence to say, well, with the evidence in front of me, I believe that a $4.3 million bond is required, cash bond, and it will be returned upon the findings.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to word it perfectly, not to say that, well, you're guilty. Because they just said it. My client is a defendant here. He had nothing to do. He didn't transfer the money. Their lawyer transferred the money to this account. So what are they going to say? Alex just looked up one day and said, oh, man, there's $4.3 million in this account.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't have any. I didn't know how that got there. It got there, so I took it. But now they're saying, wait a minute, your paralegals were sending emails on how exactly to do it. So your defense of you had nothing to do with moving the money is pretty much shot. So again, he has to weigh in the whole, I have to presume you're innocent.
Plus he had, wait a minute. No. Wait a minute, Nikki. So the judge that lost his son, I thought that was the judge in the murder case. See, this is not the judge in the murder case, I don't think. Is it the judge in the murder case that had lost his son, or this judge right here? I'm because Nikki said plus he had just lost his beloved son and your ass killed yours. This judge is a warrior. Okay, Nikki, I thought the judge in his actual trial had lost his son. See, this is not the trial part. This is him case. Facing the financial crimes associated with the Gloria Satterfield insurance scam. Okay, so she said the judge in the murder case. Yeah, this is not the same judge, Nikki. Okay. All right, so let's see. I think he's about to say what he's going to do. And then it's going to be over.
This is unusual for a judge to go into recess during a bond hearing, which are usually
this guy's black too. So listen, did he have the same judge in both cases? Because this judge is black too now.
No, they can't.
It wouldn't be, right?
He can't try both his cases.
Okay, so it's two different judges. Okay.
Yeah, it has to be two different judges because then they'll say that the judge is biased because you already convicted him of this other stuff or you already know about this stuff. And we can't bring these cases with these cases.
Okay.
But before Newman went into recess, he told the court that he wasn't even considering a PR bond, which is what Alec's attorneys were fighting for. After a short recess, South Carolina Circuit Judge Clifton Newman officially denied bond for Alec Murdaugh. He said that Murdaugh presented a danger to both himself and the community. He said he couldn't provide a bond at this time with safety of others in mind. Newman also ordered a psychiatric evaluation for Murdaugh while he's behind bars. Now, this decision was shocking to many of us in the courtroom, especially the few of us who have been following the story since 2019. I've seen Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin represent the Murdaughs at 4 different bond hearings. 2 of them were for Paul's DUI charges in 2019 and 2 for Alec's recent charges. In 3 of those other times, the judge gave them exactly what they wanted and no questions asked. But this time, the judge took these 2 lawyers and many of us completely by surprise. It is not typical for a judge to deny bond in a non-capital case, but then again, this case is anything but typical. As we were driving back from the hearing in Columbia yesterday, Eric Bland called me.
I just think it's a good day again for our justice system.
Monica said all these cases are with the same judge.
That's what I'm looking at now, but that could easily become a conflict of interest.
It could just make all this shit have to be done over. All right, let's finish this and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I do.
He will be charged with that.
What say, Trey?
I was about to say, well, it's not shocking if it's a small hick town. How many judges are they supposed to have?
Shit, more than one?
No, I don't think they have that court in
Look it up, D2. Monica say it's the same judge. That's weird if it is. That's really weird. That don't make sense.
Not if we talking about Mayberry.
Oh God.
Today was the day that Alex starts to get comfortable getting uncomfortable. If he looked around the courtroom, there wasn't a friend in sight for him. He's going back to that jail cell and he's gonna have to put a lot of thinking to himself. Who's there for me now? No one. That's what happens when you know, there's nothing worse than somebody who steals from the family of the very woman who raised your children. It's despicable. He's just a bad person. This judge listened. He was very deliberate and he recognizes. I said to him, I said, look, the eyes of the world are on this courtroom today. And so it wasn't going to be a Dick Harpootlian lunch special. You know, $2.99, you get a turkey sandwich and fries, and you're having the served a full meal of justice.
So we don't know what's around the corner in this case, but stay tuned to fitsnews.com for the latest updates in the Murdaugh murder saga.
There's so much to unpack in this case, and Mandy works tirelessly to expose the truth. But the truth is, she works hard.
All right. So he denied bond. So Alex had to sit in jail. Did we find out if it's the same judge?
That's what I'm looking at now. The assumption for the murders was to cover up the slew of financial misdeeds by who was said to stole about 8.5 million from more than a dozen victims and sought to garner sympathy ahead of being publicly exposed. So that's what the ruling. That's what they're saying. He did it was because of that. But I'm looking to see. So Judge Clifton Newman is the murder trial judge. Now, who was the fraud judge?
If it's the same judge, that's really weird. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah, to me, it basically is a conflict of interest because he's already.
Y'all make sure y'all drop Trey link. Y'all will be live in State Land in about 30 minutes. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button if you don't mind, please, please, please. And thank you. And also, you still have time to support the channel and hit the Cash App, okay? I'm just waiting on D2 to find out. Monica wants to come up so bad, but she's at work.
Come on,
it's
Monica.
not a conflict. Oh, she said it's not a conflict because Judge Newman is a special judge.
Oh, so he was appointed. Okay, so they appointed him to the trial.
Oh. Wow.
I just think it's kind of
What are
weird.
you doing over there? One thing shouldn't have anything to do with the other, but we all know that we all still human. And if he's residing over one case, oh wow. Okay. And then two, like this was in 2021, I think. So do we know? And I'm gonna ask this, and I don't know if y'all know the answer or not. Do we know if he was found guilty um of the charges with the insurance scam thing, or is that
Yes,
still like
he
lingering?
actually no, he actually I think he pled guilty
He
to it
pled.
because
Okay,
he
okay.
was
So that
disbarred.
case was over before he actually went to trial for the murders, or was it?
Now, see, there's also a separate over 100 fraud charges.
Oh God.
So, what's next for Alex? About 100 fraud charges and a coming appeal. So
Mm.
that was March 23rd. Disbarred attorney is still charged with 99 counts of embezzlement, computer crime, money laundering, conspiracy, and more for what prosecutors say was a wide-ranging scheme to bilk his law firm clients and the government out of $9.3 million.
Mm.
He furthered several charges of September shooting in which he allegedly arranged for a man to kill him. That's still pending. In addition, appeal for his murder conviction ahead of his financial wrongdoings and lies.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, this is a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot. So I think I'm just trying to cover little, points.
In a separate case, it says in a separate case has not yet gone to trial. Murdaugh has been indicted on 99 charges in 6 different counties for allegedly defrauding victims of $8.8 million and the state of about $490 million, according to the state attorney general's office.
Ha! Well, I mean, pretty much Alec is done.
Yeah, so here's the makeup. It says 32 counts of embezzlement, 21 counts of computer crime, 14 counts of money laundering, 11 counts of obtaining signature or property by false pretense. That's Paula's crime. 9 counts of tax evasion, 7 counts of conspiracy, 3 counts of false statements or misrepresentation.
Are these all federal charges?
This is by the feds.
Oh wow.
And 2 counts of forgery.
Oh wow.
And then his law firm is suing him too. An alleged brazen scheme to defraud his clients and partners at his namesake law firm, as just what he was accused of stealing at least $1 million from a family of clients. Hakeem Pickney, who was severely injured when a tire tread on a car he was riding in came off, causing the car to overturn. Pickney hired to sue the tire company, and Murdaugh claimed that the winning as his own, according to the indictment. So he won the case and never told the clients he won the case.
Well,
he kept the money.
Surprised though? Are we surprised? No. This is crazy. All right, y'all. Well, that's it for today. We'll cover some more tomorrow, y'all. I'll try to get in as much as I can between today and, like I say, Monday, because Monday we're gonna actually start the trial coverage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I might be able to come in the morning tomorrow, but afternoon I'm going to be gone.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just do this in the morning. At 8. Do this crime and justice portion in the morning, and then go from there. But okay, I'll do it in the morning at 8. Oh yeah, they have to sue them to save face. I agree, Monica. I agree, because if not, their ass is gonna be. But they still might get them. I don't know. We'll see. But anywho, y'all, I appreciate those that joined me this morning in this live. I honestly do thank the 41 of you all that's still here. If you didn't hit the like button, please feel free to do so. Thank you, D True, for hitting the link. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Monica, for coming in the chat. Thank you, View, for coming in the chat. You and okay, good, Monica. Thanks to all the true siblings that's in the chat. I appreciate all of y'all. I really do. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all over in State Land, and I'll be back later on my other channel for a little commentary. With that being said, y'all have a blessed, beautiful day, productive day. Y'all be safe, be blessed, no stress. And I'll see y'all later. Y'all got anything else on the panel before we get off?
No, ma'am.
Bye.
Just doing my job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, D Truth, you're going live tonight, right?
Yes, ma'am. Right after Raina.
Right after Raina. Okay,
Right. So it'd be 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central.
Okay, if I got a mind left in the chat, I need Raina's link drop for her live tonight, and I also need D Truth's live, D Truth links drop, and Monica Mo Justice. Okay, and View. It's ebooks to get them all. I need D Truth, Trey, Monica, a View, and Raina. Okay, ebooks.
That's right.
And I appreciate it.
Go watch If You Color.
She be coloring. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very relaxing.
I think we all need to color at some damn point. I ain't gonna lie.
And she cusses too, so it's cussing and coloring.
Yeah, it's really funny.
It's a great
thing. Ebrooks, I'm gonna play some music for about a minute so you can drop those links, and then we're gonna end it. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see everybody later on today. Y'all have a good day.